If you're wondering what it's like to work at a Buzzi Unichem cement plant, then we invite you to watch our safety video made for the Stockertown, Pennsylvania facility. All employees, contractors, clients, and others who come to a Buzzi property must watch this video. It will give you insight into the operations of a cement plant. First, we'd like to show you our facility layout. Unless otherwise authorized, all traffic should observe the posted traffic patterns and all traffic signs and posted speed limits. The traffic pattern is right-hand, and all posted speed limits are 10 miles an hour. Mobile equipment such as tractors, forklifts, and construction equipment retain the right-of-way throughout the facility. Please watch for them and allow them adequate room to maneuver. Parking is available at the lot next to the office, and all visitors must check in prior to proceeding. Unescorted trips throughout the facility could be dangerous and are not permitted. There are first aid kits and fire extinguishers are located throughout the facility. In case of an injury or medical emergency, call the control room. The control room is always available to address situations, including calling 911 and safely guiding emergency responders throughout the plant to the appropriate location. In the event of a weather emergency, natural disaster, or fire, all individuals on site will gather to the sand mound across the street from the office. When on site, remain clear of moving equipment and make sure the operator knows you are there. Be aware of any special traffic or driving hazards. Aerial lifts are to be operated only by trained persons and within the manufacturer's recommendations. All persons in the basket are to be tethered off with a safety harness and properly affixed lanyard. Be alert to the boom positions at all times. Never park in front of or behind stationary equipment. Seatbelt use, jockeying attire, and setting the parking is mandatory. When moving throughout the facility, note position of overhead power lines. Do not operate lifting devices within 10 feet of overhead wires. Obey railroad crossing signs. Bring your vehicle to a complete stop and ensure that it is safe to proceed. Do not smoke or use flame-producing devices in flammable or explosive atmospheres. Obey all signs that are posted around the facility. In addition to general hazards, this plant utilizes ammonia. In the event of an ammonia emergency, get yourself upwind from the tank and await further instruction from Buzzi personnel. Avoid working outside during extreme weather conditions such as thunderstorms, heavy rain, hail, or high winds. Make sure that snow and ice have been removed or covered with material to give a safe footing. Be alert and remain clear of the blasting area. Heed the warning siren. Check in with the quarry manager prior to entering the pit. Do not attempt to enter any area where unsafe ground conditions or high walls exist. Mobile equipment in unsafe areas must be moved or towed to a safe area prior to servicing. Do not work in between equipment and the high wall. Where provided, seatbelt usage is mandatory at all times while on company property. When working on or around tanks, obtain all required permits. When traveling or working over water, Coast Guard-approved life jackets must be available and used by those who are not strong swimmers. Customers must remain in their vehicles or a designated safe area during loading by a front-end loader. Tanker drivers must be provided gantries to access the top of their tankers. Flatbed operators must use fall protection when accessing the trailer bed. We would also like to share with you some general safety requirements, also known as things that you should not do while on site at Buzzi property. The use, consumption, or possession of alcoholic beverages, drugs, or drug paraphernalia is prohibited, as are firearms of any kind. Smoking and use of tobacco products will be limited to a designated smoking area and is only during lunch and breaks. Open flame or hard work is not allowed around fuel storage areas and requires a permit to work at the locations. Please see Buzzi personnel prior to beginning any hot work. Personal protective equipment. Those working on site must wear a hard hat, steel-toed boots, and safety glasses. Those doing hot work require to wear a shield. It is also required to wear hearing protection in posted areas around the facility. Sometimes double hearing protection is needed. Similarly, workers must also wear respirators in all the posted areas. Lockout, tagout. The Mining Safety and Health Administration, known as MSHA, dictates that no work is to be performed on energized equipment without first properly locking out and tagging out the emergency control source for the equipment. Once the equipment has been locked and tagged, an attempt to start the equipment must be performed to ensure that the lock is effective. Buzzi personnel should be informed before any equipment is to be locked out. Locks and tags are available. Please see Buzzi personnel for more information. Confined spaces. A confined space is defined as a space large enough for an individual to enter, has limited means of entry or exit, and is not designed for continuous occupancy. All confined spaces are permit required unless otherwise specified by a company supervisor or manager. Do not perform work in a confined space with oxygen less than 19.5%, 10% lower explosive limit, LEL, or greater, 50 ppm carbon monoxide or greater, or if hydrogen sulfide is greater than 10 ppm. Return confined space permits to company job contact when the work is completed. To maximize safety, here are some other recommendations and requirements. Watch your step when traveling throughout the plant and always use handrails on stairways and walkways. Always maintain 3 points of contact when ascending, descending, or working off ladders. Maintain a 4-to-1 ratio when setting portable extension ladders. Always face the ladder when in use. Secure the ladder to a fixed anchorage at the top of the ladder when positioned. Fall protection. Use a harness and lanyard fall protection equipment when working at heights over 4 feet. Always tie off to a point that will withstand a tensile load of at least 5,000 pounds. Inspect the harness and lanyard prior to each use, and if defective, do not use it. Tag it out. When lifting, use correct lifting procedures to avoid injury and enlist aid in lifting heavy or awkward objects. Wear your hard hat at all times. Inspect the area above where you'll be working. Wear hard-toed safety shoes to protect your feet. Do not enter into areas that have been dangered off with safety tape or other barricade devices. Hot work includes welding, cutting, grinding, or other flame, spark producing work. Hot work permits are required when any of the following conditions are present. 1. When flammable or combustible material cannot be removed from the immediate work area. 2. When metal is covered with a toxic or potentially toxic substance. 3. When performing work in a potentially explosive atmosphere. Test for percentage LEL when in doubt. Never perform work in an area with 10% LEL or higher. Return hot work permits to a company job contact when work is completed. Avoid areas where excessive welding fumes and engine exhaust are present until they are properly vented. Here are some additional requirements when working in your work area. When you arrive to your work area, it is imperative that you conduct your SLAM survey using the SLAM checklist provided to you. SLAM stands for Stop, Look, Analyze, and Manage. Stop. Upon getting to your work area, stop and think about safety. Look. Make a visual inspection. Look for trip or fall hazard, overhead hazards, high noise, confined space, illumination, fall hazard, overhead work, engulfment, heat or cold stress, emissions, flammable items, or other hazards. Analyze and manage. Review the work area. Are you able to do the job safely? If not, request help for correcting any hazards. At Buzzi Unicem, we believe that safety is personal. Thank you for taking the time to view the safety presentation. If you have any questions, please contact the safety coordinator. If you have any suggestions or see any activity that could cause harm to you or our workers, please let us know. Enjoy your stay at our plant. And remember, safety is personal.